on the crisis in Cuba and a major meeting at the White House. President Biden and Cuban American leaders talking about how to move forward after historic protests on the communist island. And the Treasury Department just handed down new sanctions against Cuba. Our D.C. Bureau Chief Ben Kennedy is live at the White House with it all. Ben.
Nicole, those sanctions you were talking about target one entity, the Cuban Ministry of the Interior, and two Cuban officials of the Revolutionary Police and their actions to suppress peaceful protesters.
Today we are adding sanctions.
New sanctions by the Biden administration targeting Cuban leaders for violating human rights and announcing new efforts to help reconnect the people of Cuba to the internet.
So I want the Cuban Americans to know that we all around this table, and myself included, see your pain. We hear your voices, and we hear the cries of freedom coming from the island.
This as Cuban Americans meet with the commander-in-chief Friday. Among those invited to the White House is Emilio Estefan, who shared this post. All of us attending this meeting today have the same desire in our hearts, the desire for a free Cuba. Joining him is former Miami Mayor Manny Diaz, the chairman of the Florida Democratic Party. He applauded the president's move last week to sanction Cuba's Minister of Defense and the government special forces unit known as Buenas Negras that were deployed by the government to crack down on protesters. Human rights groups report more than 700 people were arrested and more than 500 remain in custody following the island-wide demonstrations. Many have been tried and sentenced without lawyers, family members say. The communist regime blames America and the economic embargo for the recent protests. But U.S. leaders pushed back, saying they were the result of the country's economic crisis.
I've directed the State Department and Treasury Department to provide me within 1 month recommendations of how to maximize the flow of remittances to the Cuban people without the Cuban military taking their cut.
And that meeting with Cuban American leaders is still going on in the state dining room here behind me. President Biden said there will be more sanctions unless he sees some drastic change in Cuba. Live at the White House, Ben Kennedy, Local 10 News. Okay.